Alright, David Harry here. So, are you somebody who records your gameplay internally on the PS5 and then you offload that footage to a computer to edit it, export it, and then upload it to a streaming platform such as maybe YouTube? And are you now thinking to yourself that you may need to go external for your recordings in order to get a better picture quality? Well, what I'm going to do in this video is to compare the internal recording of the PS5 with arguably one of the best external recorders that you can get, which is the Atomos Ninja. Now, what I've done here is to simultaneously record the gameplay internally with the PS5 whilst recording the exact same stuff externally with the Ninja, using obviously the HDMI output from the PS5. And there's going to be some, like, you know, back-to-back kind of examples and also some split screen examples for you to get a really good idea as to how the picture quality difference looks, or does it actually look that different. So let me just go through these examples here, and then what I will do is just come back and explain a few things. Okay, so having watched those examples, I'm going to hazard a guess that most people will not have seen hardly any difference between the PS5 internal recording compared to the recording with the Atomos Ninja. Now, that's not to say that there isn't a difference with those recordings. There's actually quite a big difference. However, the one thing that we have to remember here is that once things are uploaded to something like YouTube, that video gets recompressed. So basically, we are degrading the quality of the picture when we upload it to YouTube. Now, I'm not saying YouTube has got like terrible re-encoding. It most certainly doesn't. It actually looks fantastic. However, for a lot of very fine detail and stuff like that, it will get lost slightly when YouTube does its recompressing. So the minor differences that we will have between the PS5 recording and the Ninja recording, they kind of get leveled out a little bit once the video is uploaded to YouTube. And this will also apply for other streaming platforms as well. So therefore, most people are not really going to see that much difference with the final output coming from the streaming platform, obviously in this instance YouTube. Now that's not to say that there isn't a difference between the recordings from the PS5 compared to the Ninja. There is actually quite a big difference in the recording quality between the two of them. However, you would probably have to be looking at the native footage on a decent monitor in order to be able to see those differences. So to be clear, the Ninja is recording at a very high bitrate using an intra-frame codec, basically an iframe only codec, and that is ProRes 422HQ, and that is recording in 10-bit with a 422 chroma subsampling, whereas the PS5 is using VP9 for the video codec, and it is a very low bitrate by comparison to the Ninja recording, and also the PS5 is only recording 8-bit with a 420 chroma subsampling. So basically the recordings made with the PS5 compared to the recordings made with the Ninja couldn't be any further apart technically as far as picture quality is concerned. However, and once again, as I've already stated, the leveler here is going to be YouTube or any other streaming platform after they have recompressed the video footage. Now, of course, if we were to go pixel peeping and say, for instance, go zooming into the footage, then yes, we would start seeing differences, and they're likely to be down to the fact that in certain instances, the PS5, due to its bitrate and the codec being used, cannot maintain ultra high fidelity as far as, like, say, fine detail is concerned, and certain things may start going a little bit blocky and stuff. However, when we just look at stuff one-to-one as we just have, it is going to be very difficult to see those types of, like, you know, anomalies within the PS5 recording. Actually, one last thing that I've just forgotten to mention. If you are somebody on a PS5 and you're wondering if you go to the PS5 Pro, are you going to gain more advantage as far as picture quality is concerned to do with the actual recording internally? The answer to that is no. Now, that's not to say that there won't be any differences, but those differences are only going to be down to certain games which might have better, like, render resolution and stuff like that, or better graphics when on the PS5. The difference with the actual internal recording system is absolutely no different as far as I can see. I've actually run certain tests on some games where there's no optimization for the game on the PS5, and both of the internal recordings do look exactly the same. So basically the bottom line here, which is what I'm trying to show people, is unless you kind of need an external HDMI recorder, maybe for other things that you might do where the external HDMI recorder would come into its own for other things, it isn't really necessary to be recording your PS5 footage with an external recorder. So if you were thinking about possibly wanting to up your game, should we say, as far as your PS5 game captures are concerned, hopefully this video has shown you that you will gain very little difference if you go for something like a Ninja. And don't forget, the Ninja is one of the best HDMI recorders that you could possibly buy to record any of your gameplay footage. Anyways, hopefully this video has been useful to people out there, and if so, please do give it a thumbs up. A sub to the channel would be absolutely awesome. I'm David Harry. Thank you very much for watching this video. Take care and goodbye now.